This review has been made possible by Chevrolet of Naperville. As you know, Chevy has tons of brand new cars and trucks available for purchase, but did you know that they also have a remarkable selection of used cars? Head on over to ChevroletofNaperville.com and look through hundreds of used cars for sale right now. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2015 Volvo XC60 T5 Premier. Up front is a 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this here XC60 for a couple of reasons, but the main reason is the fact that I don't review many Volvos here on the channel. The last time I reviewed a Volvo was well over a year ago, and the last time I reviewed a Volvo from the 21st century was over 3 years ago. And so I am excited to finally bring you a more modern Volvo, or so I thought. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, ZackParental.com, where you can buy stickers like this retro sticker pack I have available. You can also buy a big friggin' bottle sticker, both with free shipping worldwide. You can also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form. Again, no matter where you are in the world, you could submit your vehicle. I'll probably get there eventually. And then last but not least, you could read my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 2.0 liter turbo under the hood, making 242 horsepower. The XC60 isn't really a slouch. It's nothing crazy either. It does the job. However, this is the T5, and you could move up to the T6, which still had a turbocharged engine, but also a supercharged engine at the same time. That's right, the T6 got a twin charged engine, featuring both a turbo and a supercharger, which is super unique. I don't know of many other brands, if any, that are still doing that today. All right, so we'll do an acceleration test, 2-liter turbo, 240 horsepower, 247, 243, I forget what I said. Back straightaway, it is rainy today, so just keep that in mind, but here we go. Turbo. And there we go. Nothing insanely crazy, however, the boost does build up around 3.5 to 4,000 RPM, and then you start feeling it. That is a nice feeling, I will say. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. It's a little lazy, it's a little hunting for gears every once in a while. It's not super rock solid, however, I don't really mind it all that much. Last but not least, of course, the XC60 is front wheel drive. With that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. And right off the bat, the first thing I noticed in here was how dated it feels. And we'll get into the nitty-gritty of that in a second here, but boy, I thought I was in a 2008. In front of me, I do have digital gauges and some physical ones, which I really do like. On the left is my fuel. In the center, this is my screen. I love it. The power goes up and down. I have this sort of power gauge, as well as I have my coolant temperature gauge off to the left, and that is digital as well. Very cool, and I love the red. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my cruise control options, and on the right, I have skip track, volume, and exit for the radio. The overall steering wheel is okay. It does have this Volvo badge in the middle, and I don't know if it's supposed to be all silver, but to me it looked like some of the blue, actually all of the blue, rubbed off at some point. Off to the left, I do have my light controls, so my dimmer switches, headlights, fog lights, gas cap, and trunk release, as well as my parking brake, and on the door I have lock and unlock, power mirrors, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do have this little infotainment system. The infotainment system really reminds me of the Ford system, and there's decent reason for that. Ford actually owned Volvo up until 2010. They acquired it in 1999, but sold it in 2010 to a Chinese holding company. And so you do see some hints in here of the Ford era still sticking around. While this particular car is a 2015, this car was designed and it was started in 2008. Still under Ford's control. So that's why you still see Ford things in here, even though it's a 2015, well after Ford sold off the company. It's fine. It seems a little dated now, but for 2015 standards, I don't think it's dated. Down below that, I have my 2 climate controls and hazard switch, my CD player, and then I have a bunch of controls. In the center, I get controls for the screen, but around the outside of that, I actually get my climate controls. Very interesting placement here. However, a nice feature is that I do get dual zone climate, which is very, very nice. I also get eco climate controls, so that'll heat and cool the vehicle in the most economical way, which is a very nice feature for saving fuel. I get the automatic start stop button down at the very bottom, and typical of Ford, I have my little diagram of the driver, and I get to choose where I want it to be sent, which is pretty neat. The shifter itself is a little worn. However, without these cracks on top, I think it's a relatively handsome and presentable shifter, and I can plus minus if that's something I want to do. Then we have the cup holders, and so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the XC60, and it sits in it slightly, but the second I started driving, the big friggin' bottle immediately fell out. So unfortunately, the Volvo XC60 T5 Premier from 2015 fails the big friggin' bottle test. Then I do get a little center console, and then we'll talk about the seats. The seats are finished in black leather. They are very comfortable, and I'm pleasantly enjoying myself. It's exactly what I would expect out of a modern SUV. They're not the plushest things in the world. However, they work and they don't hurt my back, which is fantastic. Speaking of seats, however, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so in the back of the 2015 Volvo XC60 T5 Premier, and a couple of things to note back here. First of all, the space back here is great. The XC60 is a 2-row SUV. The XC90 gets that 3rd row at the very back. And so this is a good size of SUV because they're not trying to cram a 3rd row in. I still get a decent amount of space, and you still get a decent amount of cargo space. I do have a 12-volt outlet down below. Of course, power windows. I have vents on the B pillars, which is very nice. And I do get this little fold-out center console. You could fold out cup holders even, things like that. Very, very nice. I am pretty happy with the back seats. Comfortable, spacious, good enough for the job. Let's go take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Volvo XC60, we do have a trunk button. Coming up here we are in the back, and like I said, they're not trying to cram that 3rd row. So you actually do get tons and tons of space back here, which is very, very nice. Normally you would get a cargo cover, but this one doesn't have it. And we could pull this up. We get some extra storage down here. Fantastic rear cargo room. Like I said, for the size of the car, this is just great. Now we got to talk about the looks, and this I think is a huge redeeming quality for the XC60 from 2015. I think it looks fantastic. Definitely the rain today does give it that more cinematic look, and you'll see that with the following shots when we get to my final thoughts. But overall, I really, really like the look of the Volvo XC60, and that's what drew me to this review. I love the red color. I love the angles, the accents. I think on the outside, it really, really works really well. But now let's get to my final thoughts. And like I just praised the outside, this interior is really, really bothering me. I've always held Volvo to this relatively high standard. They're not luxury cars per se, but they always had very good quality. Well, apparently that wasn't the case back in 2015. There's a lot of cheap plastics in here. And when I say the interior feels dated, I understand fully that this car is 7 years old. I'm not comparing it to modern standards. That's not fair to do to a vehicle. But even for 2015 standards, this still feels like a car from 2008.
Transformation. Really do. What do you?
He's the disciplined I've ever seen him in his life over the past 4 months.
Wow. Okay.
He worked with Dr. Joffrey.
Dr. Joffrey. My guy. That's my guy. So what does Dr. Joffrey do?
It is.
So that's my biggest concern and the most annoying part to me about the XC60. That and the transmission. I'm really not a fan of that transmission. It's shifting all kinds of weird and not shifting and then shifting again, and it's just very strange and uncomfortable. And so unfortunately, I don't like the fact that I'm not happy with this car. I like Volvo. I like Volvo as a company. They make some of the safest vehicles, and they make some great modern vehicles, and boy, in the 80s and 90s were they making some cool wagons and brick-shaped vehicles. I love Volvos. I will continue to love Volvos. I just think that this is kind of... Can you shift, please? Jeez. I just think that this is kind of a misstep. not their best platter. It's like going to the Lego store and buying their clothes and realizing, oh, these aren't the best clothes ever. Yeah, they're not, but that's not why you go to the Lego store. You go for the little kits. You go for the toys. I would highly, highly, highly recommend searching out an XC90. I've always loved the XC90. It's been a couple years since I've reviewed one, but when I did, I absolutely loved it. I think the interior was so much nicer. The exterior still looks great, just like this car. So that's my consumer advice. The XC60 is okay, but I think the XC90 is really where you want to be. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Chevy of Naperville for letting me take out their 2015 Volvo XC60 T5 Premier. I was so happy I was able to bring Volvo back to the channel, and that was all thank you to Chevy of Naperville. Their information is up on the screen as well as linked in the description below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.